I'm going to ruffle a few feathers with this post, but I really don't care. So much of the content on social media regarding avoidant attachment and having an avoidant partner is focused on how to keep the avoidant, how to avoid triggering the avoidant, how to keep them from running from the relationship. The problem is most of this content is coddling the avoidant, catering to them, tiptoeing around, walking on eggshells, sacrificing your own needs, your own feelings, your own expectations in the relationship to not trigger them and hopefully keep them in the relationship. If you want regular communication, you have to just accept their pulling back. You have to accept the silence. You have to approach them very carefully. You have to lower your expectations. You have to not be so needy. And what this really is self-abandonment. It's teaching people to become more anxious by walking on eggshells, trying to earn the love from this person and sacrificing their own wants, needs, and expectations and desires in a relationship. Of course, you should use non-critical communication, but you should use that with anybody. Of course, you should care about their feelings, wants, and needs. You should do that with any partner. Of course, you should be empathetic. You should be empathetic with any partner. Of course, you should be practicing active listening and healthy communication skills. You should be doing that with any partner. Of course, you should care about their needs. You should do that with any partner. But if you're looking for a relationship where your partner doesn't constantly pull away from you, if you're looking for a relationship that involves consistency with communication, if you're looking for a relationship where you can talk about things like the future and commitment without your partner running away, and you are stuffing that and you are not actually holding boundaries, which are your limits of what you want and don't want, what you'll tolerate, what you won't tolerate, to avoid triggering them, you are abandoning what it is that's important to you. You are self-abandoning. If you really want to help the avoidant while also protecting yourself, what you need to do is actually hold boundaries with this person. Do it in a kind way, explain it with non-critical communication, meaning I feel statements instead of you, but hold your boundaries of what you'll allow, what you won't allow. If this person has a habit of pulling away and taking days every time things seem to be going well, but they're triggered from the intimacy and they pull away, you don't have to just bite your tongue and allow that. You simply can say a boundary, like consistency with communication is something that's really important to me. Prolonged days of silence or a lack of communication is not something that really works for me in a relationship. Now, we can certainly address your feelings and your needs, but I do need that consistency because that's what works for me in a relationship. You don't have to sacrifice what it is that you want or need. And by holding boundaries, you're not enabling this person. You're not sending them the message that it's okay to be hot and cold, that it's okay to just disappear, that it's okay to shut down and push you away, that it's okay to not communicate and stonewall. Because it doesn't have to be okay. You don't have to allow those unhealthy behaviors, and you don't have to be in a relationship where you are constantly walking on eggshells, afraid that if you truly express yourself and behave in an authentic way, that you're going to trigger this person and they're going to exit the relationship. And for a person to be incentivized to change, they need their behaviors to not be enabled, meaning set limits, set boundaries, because your boundaries, when they know that you're serious about them and you could potentially leave the relationship because they're not meeting your needs, that can actually be a splash of cold water on the face for the avoidant to actually work on themselves, take accountability, and change their behavior so they can show up for you. But if they're not willing to do so, then what you have is a relationship with a partner that's not really empathizing with your needs, not concerned about showing up for you, and it was going to be a one-sided relationship, and that's all it was ever going to be. And is that really a relationship when you have to constantly sacrifice your wants and needs to cater to the other person to avoid triggering them? Because ultimately, if you look at all the content on keeping the avoidant, it's all based around catering to their wants, their needs, while sacrificing your own. Their desires, their triggers, their insecurities, it all comes first, and yours comes second, if at all. That's not healthy. It's teaching people to be anxious and to self-abandon. Don't self-abandon. Don't send yourself further down an anxious path. Recognize your feelings, your wants, your needs do matter, and you have every right to assert that in a relationship. And if your partner's not willing to meet you there, then you might need to reevaluate what kind of relationship it is. But no, don't self-abandon.